Hello, and welcome to this video tutorial that will walk you through how to make a bar plot in R. I'm going to start this video out by starting out in our classroom page. So what you're going to need to do, if you haven't already, is you need to download this bar plots R script. You'll need to click on it and it will open up a new window where you will get a blue button, hopefully, that says to download. If you don't get this button, if you look up here, there should be 3 dots that should also give you the opportunity sometimes to open it in a new window or to click this download arrow up here. Either way, you want to download this file. It will download down here. You don't want to open it directly from the download because most of the time your computer is not going to know how to open this file because it is specific to R. So after you've downloaded it, just close that window and go back to our classroom page. And you're also going to need the data set called BC Quality of Life Student Survey. So this is the survey that they give students on campus at the end of every year. It's got all kinds of cool information in it, and what I've got for you is about 5 years aggregated of survey data. So if you haven't downloaded this data, you want to download this as well. Same process. Click on it and then you should get the blue arrow or the download key up here. Again, we're going to download this so we have access to the data, but we are not going to open it. So after you have done the 2 downloads, you can actually minimize your classroom page and you want to open up RStudio. So I'm going to maximize this. So once you have RStudio open, you can see the way that I have it now. I do not have a script open yet. This window right here is the actual program R, and then these 2 windows here just help me manage either my data or my visualizations are going to show up in this box down here. So the first step you need to do is actually open up the R script, and you can do that by going to File, Open File, or you can just click on this Open Folder icon right there, and you want to search your computer for that bar plots file. So here is mine, bar plots, right here. It was stored in my downloads because I just downloaded it. When you open it, you'll see that you'll get this other screen appears and you get fonts that are in different colors. That is a good sign. I'm going to adjust my windows here. So when you open up a script, you get green script. That is just text. It's static. It doesn't do anything. Text that is in black or blue, those are commands. They will actually make the magic happen in R. So the first thing we're going to do is download this package called Haven. So I'm going to highlight line 10 and then click the button to run it. And you'll see that program is downloading down here. Red text is fine. It means that the program is being successfully downloaded. You'll know that it's finished when you get a blue caret down here at the bottom and your cursor reappears. You'll also notice sometimes that a stop sign appears in this corner up here. When that stop sign, you don't see it anymore, that's another indication that the R is ready for the next thing. So that is line 11. I'm going to click, you can also click and drag to highlight, but I'm going to highlight line 11 and then click run. You can see, boom, it's already ready. So the next step we're going to do after we've downloaded this program Haven, this program, the little package Haven, allows us to open up data that's from other statistical software. So this will allow us to open up that BC Quality of Life data set into our R session. And so line 12 is what I'm going to run next. I'm going to open up a file, and when I run this, a search window will appear. Now it appeared in my other screen, so I'm going to drag it over. And I'm going to look in my downloads folder. I'm looking for the BC Quality of Life Student Survey. It's very important that if you don't see this window pop up, that you kind of poke around on your computer screen looking for it, because it is there. You'll notice I have the stop sign here. It's another indication of like the program is waiting for me to do something, and it's waiting for me to select this file. So when it opens it up, it's not super exciting, but you'll see you get another line of up here that appears called BC. It has 872 observations and there are 73 variables. So lots of fun things to play with in here. If you wanted to see the data, if you clicked on BC, another tab will open up here, and this gives you just a picture of the data. You can't manipulate any of this information, but it does allow you to see your data, and that can be useful. especially to double check spelling of things. So I'm going to go back to my bar plot script, and we've now opened the data. The next step is to actually download and install these packages that will help us make a bar plot. So the first one, I'm going to run line 17. It's going to download 2 packages. One called ggplot, which is our primary plotting package that we're going to use throughout the semester, and the other one is rColorBrewer. It's an awesome little package. It's got every color you could imagine in there and lots of nifty little color gradient ramps. It is super fun. I like to describe it as, imagine Crayola did mushrooms, and then that was a package you get to use now. So after it is downloaded, you can see it's finished down here because I've got my cursor back. You want to run line 18 to install ggplot into our session. And then when that's finished, run line 19, the library for ColorBrewer, to open that one up as well. So now we have everything ready to actually make our plot, and we just need to pick a variable. For this example, I'm going to be making a bar plot of the variable called luck. This is a variable that asks students to respond to a question. What people get out of life is largely the result of luck, not their own abilities, and students were asked whether or not they agreed, disagreed, or had neutral feelings on this. So I just want to get a sense of how many students fit into each category. So I'm going to run line 24, the table command, and that shows us that down here there were 106 students who agree that it's not based off of your own abilities, it's what you get out of life, it's a result of luck. 568 students disagree, 144 students were neutral, and we had 54 students who didn't answer it. That's why they don't have a label up here. So then we get down to making the bar plot. And the way that these plot commands work, all of this from line 30 to line 40, 10 lines of code, all of that builds a plot. And each line does something very specific. The way that these commands work is that they're strung together using plus signs. So every additional component of the plot is its own little statement, and they're strung together around the pluses. So sometimes if you get a mistake and the code won't work, you should check to see, well, do I have a plus sign in between each of my statements? The first command line, ggplot, just says we're going to draw something and has to tell you which variable we're going to make a plot of. So when you make a bar plot, you will have to change the word luck. You would change that to match the name of the variable you're interested in. The next line says how we're going to draw the plot. We're going to do it. The geom bar is for bar plots, and we're going to do a count of each of the categories and how many are in each category. I also set the colors because I want this to be pretty, and we've got 3 categories that are going to be plotted: agree, disagree, and neutral. And I thought it'd be fun to use the blues package. In class, I'll show you how to change the colors. But briefly, if you just do a Google search for rColorBrewer, you click on one of the images that comes up and you will see there's all kinds of color palettes. You can change the color palette by just changing the name here. It just has to be spelled correctly. I'm going to have my categories outlined in black, so each of my columns will be a color blue and outlined in black. Next, the scale X sets the names of the categories because I only wanted to plot the agree, disagree, and neutral information. I also give this a nice title. So I've got an overall title, which is just the question. I find this information straight out of the code book. So when you are making a bar plot, if you're wondering, how do I know what to title my plot? You need to go to the code book and see what was the question that was asked to students. And then I also labeled my X, which is the text of the question. And then the Y is the who is answering this. So in this case, this is students. The Y continuous scale. This is my Y axis. And so I want this axis to count how many students respond to each category. And so I have to set what the minimum and the maximum is. I get these values by looking at these numbers down here. I want it to start the line with 0 because we're counting up. And determining where it's going to stop, I base off of the category with the most in it. So there were 568 people who disagreed. So I just went ahead and set this by 600. And then the by equals 30 means every 30 units it's going to draw a tick mark. So for right now, I'm just going to run this. You can see when I highlight starting from line 30 all the way up to this plus sign. By not including the plus sign, it will graph everything except for this stuff down here. I'm going to save these things for next. So I'm going to run this, and you see my plot over here. You can see I've got 3 different shades of blue. I've got a title, I've got the x-axis labeled, my y-axis is labeled, and you can see each of my bins is labeled as well. What these next 3 lines do that start with annotate, one of the things that I like to do with bar plots is give people sort of a lot of information but packed in a very readable format. So you can look at this and see most of the people are in the disagree box because it's the tallest box. There are, almost 570 people. But another interesting level of information is to give your audience a sense of what percentage of all respondents that makes up. I found that information, the percent who agreed, disagreed, and were neutral, by making a frequency table of this variable in SPSS. So if you're wondering how would I add this information, that's the step that you would need to do. Open up SPSS and then you follow along with the instructions in your note packet number 1 to make a frequency table of the variable that you're plotting. So I've already done that part. So what's going to happen here is that it's going to put in the text of the word agree, and it's going to put the label 12%. So it's putting in the text in the agree column, and using the y-axis I said I want you to put the label of 12% at around 90. So I'm going to redraw all of this again so you can see what this looks like. And here you can see 12% shows up in this bar right here. I'm going to go ahead and run the other ones so you can see what they look like. And there we go. So this is helpful because now you can see that, yeah, about 570 people disagreed with the statement, which is good. And that makes up 65% of the students who answered this question. The last thing that we add onto this plot is we set a theme. There are many themes that you can use in ggplot. If you just do a Google search for ggplot themes, you can see all the different choices that you have. I like the classic theme. I think it's pretty clean, and I set the base size to 12. What that does is it makes all of the font and text and numbers appear basically the same size. You can see here that they are not all the same font size, and that's one of those things that kind of bothers me. So I'm going to run lines 30 through 40, draw this whole plot one more time, and here is our finished product. I think this looks pretty snazzy. I hope you do too, and I hope you were able to get this to work. The very last step once you've gotten your plot to work is you've got to get it out of here, ready to be put into a homework, a Google Doc, a Word doc. You might want to save it out as an image so you can post it on your social media, whatever you want to do with it. There are 2 ways that you can export this plot from R into other things. One is to run line 42. That will actually save this as a .png file in your documents folder, and it is named luck. So if you do this for a new variable, you would want to change the name luck to match your new variable's name. That's one way. That way works. It's beautiful. The other thing you can do is come over here and click export and then copy to clipboard. Copy to clipboard will allow you to, play around with the sizing a little bit, and when you're happy with how it looks, you would just hit copy plot and then paste it into whatever processor document you're using, either a Google Doc or Word, a text doc, whatever you need to use. That concludes the process of making a bar plot in R. Best of luck to you. Please reach out to me if you have any questions.